the Letshuoer s08. Let's talk about it. The s08 was sent to me by a fellow reviewer. I wanted to thank him for that. We'll give him a shout out in the YouTube comments. This is a fairly recent release that costs about $100. Is it a planar IEM? Let's start by talking about the build quality of this IEM. The shell is kind of small but chunky. It's kind of like the Aria shell where it doesn't have the little wing lip on the left. You'll see the front of it is a little bit wide, if you can kind of tell, whereas like the Afu Magic 1 will kind of taper off. This kind of comes to a rounded point. It is a flat 2-pin cable, and it is an overall nice ear tip holding IEM. The nozzle is fairly small. I didn't have problems with fit and found it overall a fairly comfortable, nice fitting IEM, and I think it's a really great shell, and I have no problems with the shell at all. I love this cable. Oftentimes when you get IEMs at this price, I feel like they still cheap out on cables. This is a very similar cable to what was used on the Dyna Quattro or the Dunu Da Vinci. It has a nice screw lock system. It's a supple cable that feels good in hand, and it does have a 4.4 connector that comes along with this. The case is nothing special. It kind of seems to have a little bit of something on it, but overall it's just a nice kind of a plastic case that can help protect your IEM. I think a case is a nice value add to have at any time, and it's a fine case that kind of fits the motif of what they've been releasing as of late. So all in all, good solid case that they use on their more expensive products. Way to go, Letshuoer. As far as the sonic qualities of this IEM, let's talk about it. It's a little bit bass lean. It's a little bit lean in the upper mids as well. It has great air and great technicalities, if you want to call it that. And overall, it's a nice set that I'm pretty impressed with for this price. I think this is an impressive set, but like all IEMs, it does have some problems that I want to talk to you guys about. But overall, build quality is strong, and sonic quality of this IEM is really strong and is becoming one of my favorite planars. All right, let's look at the graph of this, and the graph it's a good looking graph. I mean, it has really good mids. It lacks a little bit in the sub bass for me, which affects the guitar strings and some like cymbal crashes. But overall, like, this sounds really good in ear. And I don't have any major fault with this. People that aren't really bass heads might really like the bass level of this better. But for me, I think it has some problems. Again, I like this IEM, but it has problems here in the sub bass and a little bit in the upper mids. The upper air and extension on this IEM is really nice. Let's look at this versus a few other IEMs and then go from there. First of all, I wanted to compare something to Letshuoer S12. Now, I do think there are other IEMs that Letshuoer has done that might be stronger and better than this, but I think this is definitely one of their best, especially say under 500. It's a really strong set. Like if you look, it basically has the same bass shelf and mids until about 1.5K. with the S12, if that's something you like, but it has a really decreased region from here. This 3K to about 12K is all decreased treble wise, and I think that's really something to note. So like, it has good bass, it has good treble, but not as fantastic as you might want. So it's a little bit more tolerable for most people, with the still being a planar driver. I personally rate the S08 much more. I really think oftentimes we think, oh yeah, well, how much does that IEM cost? That doesn't really work in IEM land. It's really about a preference thing. And for me, the S08 it's just better. It's just really nice. I'm a huge fan of it. It's really good. Let's look at a few other IEMs. I mean, look at the Hexa. The Hexa has really lean bass. So if you are someone that found the Hexa too lean, this probably isn't for you. But this has really nice technicalities, and if that's kind of what you're after, I think this might be a better way to go. I think I like the Letshuoer S08 better than the Hexa. I think the Hexa is a nice set. I have problems with the fit. I have problems with just the bass feeling light. Even though the graph doesn't really seem like it would demonstrate that, I really feel that the Letshuoer S08 has a better bass response, and it's not really lacking anything on that regard. One thing I wanted to show is this is the Awful Explorer graph. Now, the Awful Explorer, when it goes on sale, it's about 100, but if the Letshuoer S08 goes on sale, it'll be about 80. So it kind of depends on what you're willing, how patient you are willing to be, but these are close in price. I really like the Awful Explorer. It's one of my favorite sets. It has a better fit for me, has better sub bass. I think its air and detail are about the same, but the bass, for me, like the bass is one of the first things that I have a problem with. I don't know if you can call that being a bass head, but for me, if the bass isn't right, I almost instantly tune out of sets. Not to say that I don't appreciate other sets that don't have bass in them, but it's one of the first things that I'll recognize about, yep, bass is off. I don't feel that with the Awful Explorer. The bass is better. So if you are a bass head, or you're all worried about fit and comfort, I think the Explorer is worth the 20 extra bucks. Again, that's hard to say, but when you're talking about IMs this price, they're pretty similar in price. Another one I have in home right now is the Dunu Talos. I have it on loan right now, and I'm not sure if it's going to get a full review or what. But I mean, the Dunu Talos has really sparkly upper mids, but it lacks in bass shelf. It's also a $200 set. I think if you're really after that kind of low bass, high planar sound, I think that Dunu Talos still stands the test of time. But I think the Letshuoer S08 has a little bit better of a sound overall. Not to take anything away from it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I really feel that these two trade blows. And if someone had to tell me, hey, which one do you like better? I'd be like, I don't know. It depends what you want. One has better this, one has better that. I think they both have pretty good upper mids. They both have a really nice dip. And this region right here is gone. There's not a lot of energy there, like what you see back if we look at, say, the S Pro. Like, boom, look at that. Look how much energy is up here versus when you look at the Talos and the S08. It's just not there. And so I think the S08, for me, it's a little bit of a better set. It fits my preferences just a little bit better, but they're both pretty good sets and something to consider if you find maybe a Dunu Talos used, it might be a good way to go. I mean, another one to look at is the NiceHack F1 Pro. It's about the same price. I like design and comfort of the NiceHack F1 Pro. It's a pretty design with a nice cable, but you have a lot of this 4 to 6K energy, just oodles of it. It's just, yeah. And so it's hard to recommend. At this price, there's a lot of IEMs you can recommend. I mean, for me, for the tonality that I really like the Singolo. I really think the Singolo is a good set if you're going after a single dynamic driver. It is tiny. It does have crappy packaging, but sometimes you'll see the Singolo on sale or on the used market for around 40. If you can find that might be a better way to go. But, it's just something to know. It has way better upper mids, way better bass. Its detail and sparkle may not be on the same level as the S08. I think there's drivers and sonic qualities of the S08 that make it a little bit better, but I think these two do trade blows significantly. One thing I'm going to show you is the Hideous MP143. This one's kind of a funny one. I was A-Bing both of these, and the Hideous MP143 hasn't yet released, but I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's because of that extra bass shelf. It really helps with certain genres of music and really helps with my taste. I just found it to be a fun, engaging set. And I'm not sure the price on that, but I kind of wanted to show that off because I do have that in home and have been A-Bing them. I do think the Hideous MP143 is going to be stronger, but it also has kind of a different shell. And again, we don't know the price of it yet, but I just kind of wanted to show that to you guys, that, you know, it's another planar to consider. Now, with the Letshuoer S08, I do think it needs EQ. So I want to show you, I did do an EQ with this. And you can, with this EQ, I think it sounds quite a bit better. And I think this is really the way to go. Again, this is a solid set, but for my personal take, it misses the mark just ever so slightly, despite being a very good set. It's not quite a great set. So as far as rating goes, we're going to give this 2 stars, which means it's a good value, maybe not the best value. I think if this was at 3 stars, this would it'd be around $80. So this is a good value product, a solid B. It lacks some dynamics and just some imaging for me. And I think overall it's a nice set, but it doesn't have that really impressive mids. It doesn't have that really impressive bass. Its treble and upper air is nice. It does a lot of things good. And for the price, I really enjoy this set. And I really think it's an impressive set. But there might be other things to consider or other options to go after depending on your needs. But again, it's a really good set and I've been super impressed with it. So, in summary, the S08 is a win. Has really good packaging, has really great dynamics and slam, has really good imaging. For its price, this is an amazing set and I fully endorse it. I love it a lot. I think it gives you a hi-fi experience at an extremely reasonable price. So oftentimes things are really exaggeratively priced. And while I think the tuning of this isn't great, I just think it's good. I think the overall presentation and sound of this still makes this a fun IEM and an enjoyable set that I think you guys should definitely consider if you're in the market for a $100 IEM. It's really a special set, despite having some minor flaws and needing, in my opinion, just a little bit of EQ to sound right. But I think this is an extremely strong planar that has really great sound quality. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Also, we kind of gave our hi-fi plant a bunch of stickers. Let us know what you think, huh? Yeah. All right, bye-bye. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?